guys, today I'm doing a layout. I have been waiting to get my hands on this piece of paper for so long. I know it sounds stupid, but I actually enjoy when I find a piece of paper that I really, really want. I don't need the whole collection or all the ephemera. I've had this idea for this particular piece of paper in my head for months, and I finally got my hands on some, so now I'm doing it. What I'm using here are my Creative Memories circle cutting range. If you don't know what Creative Memories circle cutters are, so you get that piece of acetate. It's got the 3 different colours. See the 3 different cutters that I'm using? So red cuts it as close to the circle, green's next, then blue. And you've got tracks inside and outside. So see, it cuts out perfect circles. Now, what I'm doing here, this is what I'm showing you. This is what I've had in my head forever. Sometimes when I get an idea in my head, I'm not even joking. It is all I can do to try and keep my brain from losing my marbles about it. Like I have to do it if it's something in my head. I haven't seen anyone else do this with this paper. People may have, but I haven't seen it. I just had circles, and sorry about my hair there in your way. So what I decided to do is I wanted to use this sort of, I guess, well, it's a kaleidoscope is what it is, and that's what the paper is actually called, Vicki Boutin Kaleidoscope. What is the actual name of it? I did set it here. Kaleidoscope. And then it does have a number, 351086, and it's called Kaleidoscope. So, which I didn't even realise that was the name of it until I found the paper and went, yes, I'm going to do it. So this is that little cut file there. That was another one that was sent to me for free from Scrapbook Fantasies in my order that I placed and received last week. So they're an Australian-based company, and yeah, I didn't have to. That was just a little happy piece that I received. So if you want to check them out, they are a an Australian-owned, designed, run company, and they are in Queensland. So, yeah, what am I doing here? So this is where I got, first of all, as much as I love scrapbooking, I am useless at jigsaw puzzles. Absolutely useless at it. So when I moved these pieces out of the way, because what I was trying to do, in my mind, I wanted to swap pieces to the opposite end, if that makes sense. But I didn't want it to look so calculated. So it took me a little bit. Now, the reason I didn't cut and edit the daylights out of this is because I've sped it up 4 times so that I can leave all of the whole process in here for you. Now, this was me deciding what colour I was going to put on the back, and yeah, I went with just a bright white. It was actually I ended up using, no, it was just a flat white. It had no texture, no nothing. So even though at this point I wasn't sold that I was definitely going to use the Legacy of Love Cutfile, because it wasn't in my original thought process for this video. That being said, it does reappear. Sorry if you can hear cars. I'm enjoying the fact that it's not 99% humidity here in Queensland, and there is a slight breeze. So I have my window open in my craft room while I'm doing this particular thing. Now, okay, what I'm showing you here, this is typical Karren rush in, bullet a gate situation. I didn't trim the edge of my paper down to give myself a border until after I'd cut the circles. Genius, hey? Don't do that. It makes it so much harder. But then what I thought of was, you know what? I actually want this to not be perfectly square on the paper. So even though it looks like I'm trying to line it up perfectly, I'm not. What I'm trying to do is cut about a quarter of an inch. Yeah, it was about a quarter of an inch that I pretty much cut off. Now, when I put this down, I actually don't want the edge to be perfect width all the way around. I wanted it to be slightly skewed because that sort of lends itself to the way it looks, you know, with the circles and the little bits and pieces. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. I'll be honest with you, I absolutely love how this turns out, and it turns out exactly how it was in my mind. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. So what are you guys up to this weekend? Here in Queensland, it is supposed to be perfect weather for us. It is supposed to be 27 degrees and sunny with a slight breeze. So oh man, I was having issues. Come back to this page. Wow. I was having issues with my tape runner, and you know what? I just pulled it out. My husband fixed it, and then it didn't quite work properly. I just ditched it and started a fresh refill. I know, not a cheap exercise, right? However, okay, so see here, what I'm trying to do is get one side on. I've got a little piece of sticker sticking out. It drives me crackers. Okay, so see how on the yellow side, it's not quite, it's not even, and it's not meant to be even. So once I put the other circle pieces in, you'll realize how crooked it looks, and that's supposed to be like that. So it has that sort of wonky feel to it. Now this is me trying to do a jigsaw puzzle, like, except for the circle pieces in the middle. Okay, so, and there's the bell. Cue the bell. Yes, I'm recording at 8:50 in the morning. Oh, gee whiz. And now because the window's open, you're probably going to hear it today. There's a school bell here in Australia, and I have no clue why it doesn't sound like a bell. I honestly, and it's so loud. I'm not even on the school boundary. Like, I go on about this every single time I hear it while I'm recording. Okay, so back to the question. So what are you guys up to this weekend? I'm planning on starting a new album for my now 14-year-old daughter. I know, right? Makes me sound really slack. Even though I've been doing scrapbooking for 20 years, it's been on and off. So obviously when I had babies, and then I've actually got, I'll give you a little bit of insight. One of my children actually has a chronic disease. It's called ulcerative colitis, and it's very similar to Crohn's disease. And she's had a lot of battles in her life. But due to that and some other health issues, which before I bring those up, I will ask for her permission before I mention that. So yeah, she's all good at the moment. She's doing really well. Medication's doing what it needs to do, but it has taken us quite a few years to get to this point. Subsequently, I had chunks of time where crafting, as much as it would have helped my mental health, it wasn't, there was no way I could just let go of all the feelings and all the emotion to just focus on scrapbooking. I couldn't do it. So yeah, so we had some big chunks in there where I didn't scrap. So I found myself last weekend putting all my pages into my albums. Now, I use Creative Memories albums because I love their binding system. Does that mean that I'm using extra pages? Yes, but I find it gives stability to the album. I don't. I used to. I was actually looking through my eldest daughter's when I very first started scrapbooking, and the Creative Memories way that I was sort of become very accustomed to, and I was looking at how I used to scrap compared to how I scrap now, and wow, it's changed. I mean, you don't go back and change it. You don't go back and redo pages or anything, but wow, yeah, it's completely changed. But in that process, what happened was, um, Taylor, my eldest daughter, asked my middle daughter, Angela, she asked her if she would keep an album like this, down years and years down the track, of course, but would you like one of these albums and would you have it? Because the way I scrap now is I scrap the photos I want to scrap with the papers that I find that I like. Yeah. So it's not necessarily chronological, which is how I used to scrap, because I found scrapbooking chronologically gives me a bit of anxiety, to be honest, because now I've got 3 kids, and I have to say I've got 80,000 photos on my computer. So to scrap that chronologically, it did my head in a bit. I couldn't really think about it. So what I'm going to do is I've decided that I'm going to start an album specifically for the baby photos and the younger photos of my 2 younger girls, because I've already scrapped those photos of my oldest daughter. So they're not on YouTube or anything. I never videoed those. That was years ago. And she's now got 2 Creative Memory albums full, to the point of extremely full. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to start fresh. So with the other 2. Excuse me. So this page, I got to tell you, it just gives me, when you do a page and it gives you the warm fuzzy vibes. So you can see here, see how that's not straight? So this is where you can start to see that it's really close on one side and not so on the other. So that's that wonky vibe that I've got going on. So I've raised up pieces of the circles and I've put other pieces down flat on the white, so that it's got when you look at it, it's all different. I tried to take still photos of it, and it just didn't work properly. So I was getting frustrated there because it just wouldn't work. So, okay. So what I'm trying to do, so that one there's raised up. Now, this page has one photo on it, not for any reason other than I wanted the paper to be the hero in this whole layout. Obviously, I'm scrapping a photo of my children, and myself, but I wanted it to be all about this paper. Sometimes I see papers and they just do it for me. I don't know why, but they are awesome and I love them. And that's what this piece of this I haven't bought the whole collection because I'm not always in the mood for lots of bright colours, but this one, yeah, I was getting the feels. So So today's April Fool's Day. I wonder how many people get caught with actually, I would really, really like to hear, depending what country you're in, there's always an April Fool's joke somewhere. Um, and some of them are pretty funny. My daughter told me one this morning. She got out of bed and she's like, oh, Krispy Kremes have got she said it's April Fool's full on. It's a donut flavored. It's a latte donut flavored drink in a can. And she's like, "There's no way." And I said, "No, that's definitely up. That's got to be. That has to be April Fool." Can you imagine? Can you just imagine that flavor? A latte flavored donut. I could do that. That's just coffee flavor, right? But then put that into a liquid form in a drink. Ew. That would be gross. Um yeah, no. But I have not noticed, I haven't listened to the radio much this morning yet. But on telly, I saw the news this morning I watched Sunrise in the morning on Channel 7 here in Australia, here in Queensland. And I haven't noticed any. To be fair, I wasn't watching it super closely. Watched the news and that was about it. But while I was getting my kids ready for school, well, 1 out of 2 went to school today. Why? Because one of my children has come home and she's got a runny nose, and I've done 2 COVID tests on her now, and we have, luckily and thankfully, we've avoided COVID so far, because myself and my daughter are immune compromised, and we take medications that suppress our immune systems. So, okay, you couldn't really see that then because it was fast forwarded, but okay, this is I made this look really hard, so I'm glad I put it in fast forward so it doesn't torture you. I didn't want that to just go on straight. I wanted that to have sort of a choppy look to it. That's why it's the way it is. That was peacock feathers. I'm showing you here. That's how I store in my trays. That's how I store my ink. So in the trays that I made. Now, I have got a video and it's going up after this on how to make my trays. I made a large tray for my border punches that I bought this week, which I'm absolutely in love with. So see how I put that on crooked? That's crooked and the border's crooked, if that makes sense. So I was debating on that circle whether I was going to put something on it first or what was I going to do, but I ended up doing it like that. So now, this is where it gets interesting. I have to raise up the middle bit to match the other bits that are raised up. So, but it's good. I really, really like how this, see, look at that cut file. It's still floating around. It hasn't disappeared anywhere. So, you can see the circles that I've cut out around the borders. And what I actually do after I do this, sometimes I like to sew on my pages, right? Machine stitch, hand stitch, any of those. But this, obviously with as much foam as I have on here, I wanted the stitch effect, but I knew in my mind I wanted to do some pen work. And that's when I realized, look at that. You cannot tell me that was not the perfect cut file for that space. It's absolutely perfect. So the cut file, made it on there. I will put a link in the description to the store that sent that file to me. And I'm sure you'll be able to find it in their store. It's fantastic. Like I said, I get no kickbacks at all. It's just, I think they're fantastic. So this is me trying to raise up this really thin cut file so that it sits up to the same height as that big circle in the middle, because that's up on foam, just so it sits even. So yeah. So after this video goes up, I did do a voiceover. I did a live, so I was voicing over the whole video of making the box / try. Oh, there's a craft alive. It's live at the moment in Ballarat. There you go. Now, what can I tell you? What else can I tell you? So I think I will make the scrapbook pages that I'm doing to start my daughter's new album. I think I'm going to put them in a separate folder to the scrapbooking pages, and I'll make them a certain album. That way, I'm thinking about doing QR codes for any photos that have videos associated with them. That way, my daughter in years to come can simply scan the QR code, and, you know, it's just an added extra bit of pizzazz, I suppose. Technology. It's awesome. Now, here I was contemplating. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Do I do gold? Do I do white? I went, no, do white. So this is in 4 times. This is 4 times fast. So if you do your dots and dashes and so on, and you think, Karen, holy dooly, how do you get them so neat and so straight? This is 4 times fast. This is sped up 4 times. So if I say 4 times fast, one more time. Okay, I was debating whether to do the edge there, and I'm like, no, come back to it. So in my mind, what I actually do is what I had in my head originally. So sometimes I think we can overcomplicate a page with, and I've said this, I adore pages that have lots of florals or lots of ephemera and all that sort of jazz. Sometimes those pages look amazing. They do. And I adore them. And I watch people do it all the time. Me, I'm more of a less is more scrapper. I like to, for this particular page, I wanted it to be the paper itself. I wanted it to be the hero. Because sometimes the Vicki Boutin pages, oh man, they are so nice. So I figured, you know what? And I made this decision right from the beginning, that I wanted to make the paper the hero. Don't add lots of embellishments on top of it and just make it look too over the top and you can't sort of focus anywhere. I wanted to be able to get in, and I think the way I went was the right way for me personally. Now, the pen that I'm using is a Uni-Ball Signo Broad, and it's white. I get mine from Officeworks, and I usually buy them in a 3-pack. And the 3-pack is about $11. This is Australian, by the way. I think it's like $11.50 or something like that. And it is white. And I do sort of, if you can see what I'm doing there, I sort of go forward and then back again. And it is nice, bright white, and it stays like that. It's so good. The same as the gold pen and the black one in the Uni-Ball. They're just awesome. The gold one is a gel. metallic gel. And it's, yeah. Sometimes I find too, I can't sew as straight as I can make a dotted line. I don't know if you're like that. I don't know if you're like that, but if I'm doing straight lines around the border, perfect, not a problem. I can do that. But what frustrates me is sometimes I go crooked, and then once you've got the holes in the paper, you've got to leave it there, but it bugs me bad. Now, I know you can't really see the white dots too much on this beige sort of colour, but they needed to be there so that you could see that it followed through, if that makes sense. So in person, up close, you can see them, but just in the video there, you can't really. So what I would love for you to do, if you don't mind, it would really, really help me out. I would love for you to subscribe so you can see any of my new videos that I post, or have a flick through some of my older videos. I am currently working on I have an expectation on myself of getting 2 videos up a week minimum. This week I'm going to probably end up with 4, if not 5 videos up this week. So sometimes I do a really complicated page and it takes me longer. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes they're just like this page. I knew what I wanted in my head. I just had to execute it, and bang, it was done. And I absolutely loved it. So if you can like and subscribe, I would really appreciate this. Now, this is where I was playing. These pages, these are the ephemera bits that I pulled out that I thought could work on it. And the hearts, these were bits and pieces out of a Kaisercraft ephemera pack, which is called, let me see, Kaisercraft Collectables Sunkissed collection. And the love hearts are out of the Gather Together collection from Simple Stories. So I literally just grabbed, because I wanted to put, see those the sprigs underneath the Legacy of Love? I think that just finishes off that Cutfile and doesn't look like it's just stuck on there, which meant I needed to put some more black on there somewhere. So between the writing and those love hearts, I've added a little bit more black, so it all works together. And I absolutely love it. So if you could like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about my page, even share it to your Facebook page so that you can, maybe if you've got other scrappy friends that might not know about my page, I would really appreciate it. In fact, I would absolutely love to have them on board to share in my crazy scrapbooking chitty chat style YouTube channel. Let me know if you find any April Fool's jokes today. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. And there it is. So this is all up close. That bit's still in fast forward. Apologies. Check out the still shots for close-ups. Thanks very much. Bye.